Hi everyone, welcome back to the second session of August month where we are looking at how to restore our relationship with our father. So, if we go back to the last session, we talked about how our father's relationship decides how we view the world because a father introduces us to the world. And we gave you an exercise about finding out how you have been viewing your father, either looking at all the, not all the, but major negatives about him, or looking at most of the positives about him and keeping him on a pedestal. And intention of that was to uh, make you aware and make you uh, connected with your reality in your relationship with your father. Seeing a bond with father the way it is, the way he is, and the way he is not. So we are assuming that you have done that work, and from there we want to uh, take this topic forward today. Yes, Priya, you want to continue?
Yeah. So, keeping this as the premise that the relationship with our mother reflects our relationship with life, and the relationship with our father is mostly seen about how we exist in the world. Keeping that as the premise, um, like Gayatri said, the father introduces us to the world. So, as much as we are going to talk today, we are talking about our experiences that we have got through the sessions that we have facilitated in family constellation therapy and through the observations that we have had as therapists. So, there might not be a hard and fast rule to the examples that we give, but we have seen that such kind of impact is there of the father on the child or the person. And we are talking from that experience, right, Gayatri?
Yes.
So, maybe, I mean, I'm quoting this, that's because maybe there is no bookish knowledge to what we are going to share today. But we have seen that in most cases, this is how the relationship with the father impacts us in our day to day life. So, coming to when we say that the father is the person who introduces us to the world or introduces the world to us, what are the aspects of the world that are important for us in our day to day life? The first thing that is very important for any person is their own identity of who they are in the world. And when I say identity, I am not talking of gender. I am talking of, uh, you know, the person's self thoughts or identity of their own self, of who they are. That kind of validation mostly comes from the parents for any child, that I exist and I am seen for who I am. And if any person has um, issues with how the world perceives them, most times it is seen that it goes back to their relationship with their parents, and most times it is seen that it goes back to relationship with the father. So let me give you an example that I was talking to one client just before this session, that for example, a girl who is in her teens, and that is the age from 12 that a person starts developing their own identity or their own thoughts or their own sense of self. Now, in that situation, for a girl, the first person of the opposite gender that she encounters is her father. And it is very important for girls of that age, um, where they get a good kind of validation from the father, that they are seen for who they are and they are validated for who they are by their father. Now, why is that important? That is because it is noticed that later the way a girl puts herself out to other men, or uh, has her sense of self in the company of other men or her significant partner, this relationship or this dynamic with the father plays a very important role for her later in life also. It has been noticed. So, we usually say in therapy language also, that it is very important for girls of that age to get a good sense of validation from the father, which is quite absent, at least that we have seen in Indian households. There is more of control, or there is more of, uh, you know, uh, a way in which a father feels that he needs to protect his child in a particular way, and his own beliefs about the world, his own beliefs about safety, his own beliefs about how he needs to protect his children, especially girls. In case of girls, comes in the way of the girl's beliefs or the child's beliefs. Yeah, so this is just an example. Now, if you take the case of boys, it's very important for a boy who is in that stage of self identity to find validation from his father about the kind of man that he is becoming. So he looks up to his father in that way. And this is the time that most conflicts begin to happen between the child and the father, or between the child and the mother. So the case in question here is father. So we are talking only of fathers. So it is very important for children in that age to find a validation of their identity by their father and their mother, of course. And that plays a very important role about how they can trust themselves for who they are in their self beliefs, and how they put themselves out in the world. Yes or no, Gayatri?
Yes.
So, we have a questionnaire in ECA where we talk of something called as sexuality, where we talk of how a person puts themselves out in the world with their sense of self. So, by 16, their sense of how they receive information is done, and then how they put themselves out in the world. So, we have noticed that in that age, the role of the father is very, very important for the girl. In some cases where the girl is extremely, attached to the father, or like Gayatri said, puts him on a pedestal, she can become a daddy's girl. Or in the case of the other gender, it can become a mama's boy, where the girl associates and is attached to the father so much that she wants to replicate the same relation, or wants that only outside in the significant other that she has in her life, her husband or her lover or the man in her life. So there is a sense of entanglement that can happen. So this is one of the ways in which the role of the father plays a very significant role in how we develop our identity in the world outside there. Yeah, Gayatri, would you like to add anything to this?
I think also about how father is present or absent.
Yeah.
Sometimes father is, physically less available because he's the breadwinner and he is most of the time not at home and physically not there to interact with children,
Mm.
because in many cultures it is seen that it is mother's job to bring up the children, and invariably at the same age where the father's presence in our life becomes important for both the genders, it might become actually opposite than what is necessary. Like for a girl, if we talk about at least Indian culture, uh, she is expected to maintain certain physical distance from the father because she's coming of an age now. And She's somewhere, taken closer by the mother so that she can become more woman like. So as Priya is saying that, the validation, right kind of validation and being seen by father is important for the daughter. At the same time, if it is not okay in the family, then the the distance with the father might create an illusion in the daughter's world that it is not easy for her to reach a man in her life, or it is not really okay. So at the same time, when she starts developing uh, different feelings for opposite gender, there could be a confusion, because a part of her says, yes, I have attraction, I have these feelings, and the other part might think or make her feel that it is not right. It is not good thing to think like that, feel like that. So these are just the layers which might, come up. Similarly, for boys, many cases you must have seen where the boy goes to the father through the mother. He wants to do something in the college and he'll go and talk to the mother first, not the father directly. And that is seen as normal because, mother is like more nurturing and soft, where father is strict. So the certain attributes of father which are manly and look like strong attributes that makes him feel strong, being uh, uh, less of words, non-expressive, or being more strict and disciplined. Also, it has its own positive side, but that might limit the communication with the father. And for both the genders, whether it is a daughter or a son, it will impact in a particular manner. And of course, when we are saying, we are not suggesting that you need to go and fix it. We are not suggesting that whatever kind of bond you have shared with your father is wrong. Okay, if it is not fitting in these things and it is not too open, because every family has its own conscience, and one family's success formula cannot be copied by another family. So the point of sharing this information is that you become aware of where you stand in your relationship with your father. Have you seen him physically being available but mentally or emotionally not there? Or maybe he was mentally, emotionally present. You have been, connected with him, but physically he was most of the times not there. And you were expected to be certain way, or at times even fill in those particular roles which he was supposed to play had he been there physically. So these are the different ways in which we get entangled with the father. Also, if father himself has been absent in ways, let's say he lost his own father at an early age, or he was away from his father and he did not have that strong supported feeling while he was growing up. Now he doesn't know how to replicate that, even if he's there and even if he wants to be there. So, more than the said, the unsaid energies play stronger roles because they have a stronger grip on our behavior at an unconscious level. And the unconscious part will have stronger grip simply because we can't see it. So, if you go back and try to understand that if your father could not support you in a particular way, how that has impacted your life when it comes to facing the world. Maybe you feel weak, or you doubt yourself, or you feel you will have to do it on your own, you don't have support. So, all these are different layers in which we want you to sit with these questions and try to bring clarity and decipher your bond with him. Yeah, Priya?
Yes.
Do you
Uh,
want to add anything?
yeah, I think when we talk of different aspects in the world, the support or the father being present and absent is one. Other things that we could talk about is, like, for example, in a family where the father is the breadwinner or the person earning for the family, a lot of performance related activities as to how you need to be out there in the world, that is brought into the family by the father. Also, the values around money there, or most times, I'm not saying that a homemaker mother does not influence such thoughts. I'm not saying that. What I'm trying to say is, in such families, usually it is said, no, in Indian families, it's like that. When the report card comes, it's the father who looks at the performance saying, oh, you need to be a particular way, or you need to do this, or you need to do that. So, performance anxiety or performance related pressure, how does the father perceive it? How does he, how is he there out in the world? That plays a very, very major part. So that is one aspect of a person's life can be influenced by a working father, and how he has seen and perceived the world, and what does he bring back to the family from there. So, beliefs related to money, beliefs related to performance, beliefs related to colleagues and performance pressure, or even authority for that matter. We have seen in many, many cases that the authority figure usually is the father in the family. And all of us, 100% of us, have issues with authority. There is no person who does not have to solve their issue with authority on earth. So we have noticed in many cases that the authority figure many times goes to the father. So these are aspects which also can be influenced by how uh, how the dynamic with the father is. Um, And as Gayatri said, the point is not about correcting it. The point is to understand that these areas can impact your current life in a big way and in a subtle way. So the idea is to be present to, to that and to free ourselves. Like when she started, she said, we are here to restore the relationship with our father. We are not here to just break it out. Yeah. We are here to restore a healthy flow. So this is another aspect of life which can be influenced by your dynamic with a father.
Um,
Yeah.
and when we say restoring the relationship, what we mean by that is restoring the love that the child has been seeking. Because if you look at the way we start our life, when we are born and all through the childhood, the child is only looking for love. Child has that innate need for parents' love and belongingness with the parents. And of course, in that, the child feels accepted by the parents. So these are the three things that the child is constantly looking for. And when at a different point, either with mother or with father, some disconnection has happened, some entanglement has happened, the love has got disturbed. And when that love gets restored, the flow from the father to the child gets restored. And that is how the life flows. That is how anything, any internal or external resource that we need to live our life the way we want or achieve that sense of joy and happiness about life, that becomes available. So, if you go back to, after listening to all of this, if you go to a particular incident where you think that, oh, I needed my father and he wasn't there. Or I went to show him something and he shouted at me. So behind that, there was love. So no matter how much ever hurt or any kind of perception that has blocked that love, but that love is what exists. And once you focus on that, that can get restored. And that is, of course, a process. So when you identify something, don't stop there. Whatever surfaces for you, whatever emotion that you felt, if it was okay to show, very good. If it was not okay to show that emotion back then, today allow yourself and let that emotion be felt. Because once you allow that this is how I felt, underneath that there could be different emotion and different emotion. And finally, the child who simply loves the father, that's what will resurface. So that's the whole idea behind, going to different aspects of your relationship with the father.
One more thing that I would like to add here, which I read very interesting in The Roots of Love today, that, and a very simple thing. So he said in that we are half our father and half our mother, whether we like it or not. And it is very important for the child that there is a harmonious relationship between the parents, because most parents want to do the best for their child, but they are not in harmony with each other. Now, that said, you can also look at how is it that your father has viewed your mother, because that might have created some disharmony in your own body or in your own emotions. And when you sit with it, you will know that you might have mentally taken sides. And why is it that I wanted to share in this webinar about father is that in most Indian households, we have seen that um, it is the word of the father which stays as a final. So, the girls feel a particular way when the father talks to their mother. Or as Gayatri said, the son goes to the mother because he feels she is more nurturing and the father is more strict. This is what we have generally noticed. Now, this is not a hard and fast rule. But if you sit and see that how is it that the relationship of my parents has impacted me, I'm sure there'll be something that will come up with your dynamic with your father and mother, of course. So that's another interesting thing that I wanted to share.
And of course, if at some point you experienced some negative thing with father, there would be hurt, there would be anger.
Yeah.
And as a child, you might have said that I don't want to become like my father in this aspect. And Bert Hellinger says that the bond of love is strong and the bond of anger is even stronger because it will keep you entangled. So, consciously, when I say I want to imitate something of my parent, whether father, mother, whoever, then consciously I try to become that and I might become that. And whatever I reject in my parent, unconsciously I become that. And that's how, we are ultimately like our parents, or we are just their energies. So more and more you are able to connect and include different aspects of your father in your life, in your heart, and keeping the relationship as it is. Like the way you felt, the way he is, the way he is not. And when you are able to take that as whole of your father, that's when there is a good possibility of you becoming free to be yourself. So I think on that note, we want to leave you with, I'm sure by now some instances must have surfaced for you, which you might be connecting with, at least one for everybody. So sit with that, whatever that has surfaced, and look at how you have felt in that particular incident with your. And when you allow, maybe plethora of emotions will surface. So that will help you to understand uh, what exactly might be happening underneath the surface. Yeah, and with that, if you have any questions or anything that you want to share, then we are here. Sounds good? Thank you.